Hi, my name is Valerie Parente, and I'm going to do a poetry reading from my collection, Rather Be Haunted. This collection is very heavy, very deep. I don't like to read a lot of the pieces on these videos because I'm just not like in a good emotional place to really talk about some of it. It was okay to write, and it's something I want people to experience, but I have a hard time saying some of these things out loud. So I'm very particular about what I pick to read, and I pick it at random. And then we do a little talk about the background and analyze it. So let's see what I can actually stomach today. It's hard to choose from this, and I'm probably frustrating some people that I don't read a lot from it, Rather Be Haunted, but I really just got to be in the right mental space, and I have been having a hard time. All right, so that one. Okay. Okay, let's do Old Soul. So Old Soul was written in September of 2019. Old Soul. You think I was born yesterday because of all the things I don't say. In a sense, yes, I'm inexperienced, but don't mistake innocence with ignorance. We all have a third eye, the mind's spy. Sometimes it's best to pretend mine is blind. I haven't made the same memories as you, but the memories I've made give me a clue. It's something called empathy. You learn as you live. Based on our own journey, we learn what to give. And I'm giving off a vibe that I don't recognize the signs, while I'm laughing inside because I've lived the same lie. No, I wasn't born yesterday. I'm just an old soul in this new age, recalling what it means to be human through a lens focused on how you've been. The question isn't if I understand your side. The question is, why do I still try? I love this poem. Old Soul. So if I'm going to talk about like the background, it's about, to be perfectly blunt, it's about playing dumb. It's about being very sensitive and aware of people's emotions around you and their sensitivities. I know you can call that like an empath, like reading someone else's energy and understanding where their mind's at. So it's about that. Um, and it's about that while also having to hold back and withhold that you know certain things, that you understand these secrets that some people are keeping, or it's something that's very confusing for a lot of people is intuition, because it is knowing in the gut, in the heart, beyond the brain. You understand something that is going to happen or that somebody else feels internally, but you don't have a logical means for understanding it. You don't have an X, Y, and Z to point out how you understood that. There's no like scientific method. There's no logic or reasoning. It's just intuitive. It's just a gut feeling, something you just feel is right. You just know it. You just know. So, old soul, I think a lot of people who are old souls are people who have really sharp intuition. So, let's go through some particular lines. No, you think I was born yesterday because of the things I don't say. Again, something that really frustrates me is people thinking I don't understand something that's going on just because I voluntarily don't say or point it out. It's frustrating when people think that you're dumb or just ignorant. And that comes from with the next line. In a sense, yes, I'm inexperienced, but don't mistake innocence with ignorance. That's directly referencing me not having a official, long-term, real relationship in my adult life, or in my whole life, really. So that's referencing that I'm inexperienced in that sense, and people know that. And I don't want, just because I have that innocence of not having the partnership, I don't want people to think that I'm ignorant. I can still understand how other people feel. I can still understand feelings and unspoken vibes. Just because I haven't established in a relationship with someone like the big deal, like an actual like romantic relationship with someone. Doesn't mean I don't understand romance. Doesn't mean I don't understand other things in the world that I haven't personally experienced. So, old soul, yes. I'm inexperienced, but don't mistake my innocence with ignorance. We all have a third eye, the mind spy. Again, intuition is like your third eye. Sometimes it's best to pretend mine is blind. Playing dumb. Sometimes that is the best case scenario, is to play dumb. I haven't made the same memories as you, but the memories I've made give me a clue. It's something called empathy. You learn as you live. Based on our own journey, we learn what to give. I love that. And I'm giving off the vibe that I don't recognize the signs while I'm laughing inside because I've lived the same lie. Sometimes you can relate to people and they don't understand that you have, in this case, like sometimes you have gone through similar, maybe not experiences, but you've had a similar personality trait and mental states that you've gone through, and you do understand what somebody's going through mentally. Not, physically, I haven't done the exact same thing, gone to the same places, but mentally, I've been there. I get it. I know what it's like to be, for example, like cripplingly depressed, just so dead inside. Like, I get it. I'm giving off a vibe that I don't recognize the signs, don't recognize something someone's feeling, and I'm laughing inside because I've lived the same lie. It's so annoying playing dumb, but sometimes, but you can freak people out, and that's what I've dealt with a lot, freaking people out with what I'm aware of without any logical means. It's freaked people out. So again, sometimes you just gotta play dumb. And it goes into this whole idea of empathy and not having the same memories as you, but my memories and my path that I've gone does give me a clue how you might feel. So sympathy is feeling something, or it's understanding how someone feels, whereas empathy is understanding how someone feels and also simultaneously feeling that way in the moment. So you can have empathy without having made the same memories as someone, which is what this is talking about. And I think that's something that a lot of old souls are good at. Something from my doll fell. I think that's something that a lot of old souls are good at, is reading the signs, understanding kind of the little how your emotions feel inside when you don't have the exact same experience that catalyzed those emotions. You had other experiences, but you get it. That's something I think a lot of old souls have. You can see that it was getting blurry. So the last stanza, I really like this last stanza. No, I wasn't born yesterday, calling back to the beginning. I'm just an old soul in this new age, recalling what it means to be human through a lens focused on how you've been. The question isn't if I understand your side. The question is, why do I still try? And that's the real punchline there. That's the zinger. It's all, it talks about empathy and how I'm not ignorant and how I'm playing dumb, blah, blah, blah. I'm pointing this out because I'm defensive about people thinking I'm dumb or ignorant. This is me getting defensive in the first two stanzas. And then at the end, it's saying, you know what? It doesn't even matter if I do understand your side, if I really am empathizing with you. It doesn't even matter. I know I said that's what this is about, but what it comes down to, doesn't matter if I understand your side. What really matters, the real question here is, why do I still try? Why am I still trying to make sense of people who don't care how I feel, people who don't care if I understand how they feel, they don't need my support? Why am I still trying? That's so, I just think that's so powerful, that last line. It's such a zinger, like, and I still feel it. This was written a year ago now, a little less than a year ago, but like, what it really comes down to, you're constantly trying to prove yourself, prove that you're smart, prove that you understand, prove that I get it, prove that I'm there for you. But what it comes down to when somebody doesn't reciprocate is, well, I guess it doesn't even matter if I understand what you're going through. The real thing that matters here is that I even try to understand. And that's the real question here. Why do I bother? I really like Old Soul. That's probably the most personal I'll get in my poetry readings right now. I could go so much deeper And I want to leave it as deep as that. That's like the most deep I want to get right now, because it gets so personal throughout this collection. What else can I read? I think I'm gonna read I Will Never Be the Same. Now, I did make a video on the anniversary, the 1 year anniversary of my dog passing, where I read, I think, 4 poems that are about Abby, my dog. And I didn't post it because I was crying through it, and I felt like it was so raw, and I felt like it was beautiful, and I felt like I should post it because it was so true. There was the real emotions, and it was the it was like the 1 year mark. But I didn't want people to think I was like exploiting my own grief by crying on screen. So I did read I Will Never Be the Same, but I'm gonna read it now because I didn't publish that. I didn't post that video. So I Will Never Be the Same. It's about losing my dog. I will never be the same. Everyone always says that things feel different. When someone you love goes, you start to feel a gaping hole. But I don't see how that could be true, because your life wasn't just a phase. You came, and I will never be the same. Because as I see it, what I believe is that when someone leaves, and leaves you with a mark, I think that proves that they're still with you. So that's a shorter poem. These poems about grief are really rough. I feel kind of dead inside right now reading it. Okay, so everyone always says that things feel different when someone you love goes, and you start to feel a gaping hole. That's very true. We've all had that, right? It's the worst feeling in the world when that, having my family come home from putting my dog down, I refused to go. Having my parents and sister come home without her. That was the gaping hole has never felt bigger. Having them come in and sit down on the couch with you, and you all are just crying, and you hold their hand, and Abby's not coming home too. She left, but she's not coming back on the car ride home. And that is like the definition of feeling a gaping hole, that type of loss. When someone you love goes, things do feel really different. That's what this literally says, and that's very true. There's not much to read into with that. But I don't see how that could be true, because your life wasn't just a phase. You came, and I will never be the same. So that's the feeling, is that there's a gaping hole and there's this huge loss. But feeling is different than mental state, and the mental state, the mind, the thoughts are, well, this doesn't make sense. I don't see how this is possible. And it says, I don't see how that could be true, because your life wasn't just a phase. You came, and I will never be the same. You're gone, but I was a person before I met you. And then I was a person as I was spending time with you. And then after you were gone, I'm still that person that spent time with you. I'm not the person before I met you, even though you're gone again. So you get changed forever when you meet someone, and when they eventually pass, you are still the person that you were when they existed, And that's where it doesn't make sense in the mind. How are you gone? But this is all the same. This love is still here just as much as it was when you were here. And then this last verse, because as I see it, what I believe is that when someone leaves, and leaves you with a mark, I think that proves that they're still with you. I've said a lot in a lot of these poems, what I think is a sign from God. And I know some people are atheists, they don't believe in a God. Think of God as just whatever spawned the universe. It doesn't have to be humanoid, just the universe in itself, and whatever the singularity that it came from. That's what I mean as God. So I do say a lot that I think signs from God, when you feel some way and it doesn't make logical sense, I do often think that's a sign from God. That's God telling you through feeling, through intuition, through this gut thing, that you're right. So it doesn't make sense that I would feel like you're still with me, because you died. Your physical body's gone. You're materially cremated. You're not here anymore. It doesn't make sense that I would feel that you're still here. But I do feel the mark that you left. And I think that proves that they're still with you. I think that feeling of you're still here, even though you're not physically, but I still feel your energy, I think that feeling is a sign from God. That's God telling you through energy, the way you perceive energy, that, hey, you're right. That hunch that you have, that they're still with you, you're right. It doesn't make sense. You can't see it with the five senses, or perceive it with the five senses: taste, smell, see, hear. You can't feel this person anymore physically, but that mark that they have left on your soul, you feel it in your soul. That's me telling you that they're still with you. You're on the same wave as the universe is very law is the, God. You're on the same wave as God. All right, we'll read one more. Oh, what's this? Oh, God. Hang on, let me just read this in my head for a second. Yeah, that's not gonna work. We're not gonna read another one about death. I can't deal with that. I will lose it. I think I'll read Path. You just... or we could read a Poetic Manifesto. I think I'll read a Poetic Manifesto from March of 2019. A Poetic Manifesto. What it means to be an artist is that I take my life experiences and process them through a creative filter. My internal world manifests best through the art of written word. As a result, when I'm in pain, I might write a dark piece. To those who find this work disturbing, this is my rebuttal. I have every right to say anything I want to say, because this page is my stage and this is my brain, and the reason you felt uncomfortable when you read it was because you have resonated with it. If you become upset knowing that I am broken, then please understand that writing about my mental health is how I begin to heal myself. I will never stop emoting and hurting and healing, and if any of this is problematic for someone, then I pray you find the strength to learn how to be human one day. This throws some shade. A Poetic Manifesto was a direct response to my family, who read something that I wrote and was very bothered by it because it was so dark. This is literally me just talking hypothetically in my own head, responding to someone saying that was too dark. You shouldn't post that. You shouldn't publish that. So it is very matter of fact. It does start out with what it means to be an artist is that I take my life experiences and I process them through a creative filter. Yep, exactly what that says. My internal world manifests best through the art of written word. This is me explaining how I'm a writer and this is what I do. As a result, when I'm in pain, I might write a dark piece. To those who find this work disturbing, this is my rebuttal. And then it goes into some rhymes in the middle where it says I have the right to say anything I want to say, which I do think is true. I think everybody has the right to say anything they want to say. Your speech, your freedom of speech, your freedom to express is just your freedom to be. It's your freedom to exist. People, I don't think people value freedom of speech as much as they should. I think a lot of my generation doesn't realize how important it is. I don't think they realize that freedom of speech is literally just freedom to exist, to be your own person, to have your own thoughts, to have your own reactions to things. You don't have freedom at all if you don't have freedom of speech. It's the utmost important freedom. So I do think I have the right to say anything I want to say. It's a matter, if you don't like it, that's too bad. You don't have to read it. Sorry, I just lost my page. Are you kidding, Val? But yeah, I have the right to say anything I want to say because this is my brain. This is who I am. It does not matter how you feel. Obviously, I'm going to use some discretion and not be an asshole, and, you know, I'm going to leave some anonymity if I am talking about emotions that are particular to people. So this page is my stage and this is my brain, and the reason you felt uncomfortable when you read it was because you have resonated with it. I think that's so true. When people get upset about something I've written, because I've had that happen, and like family has been upset, or friends who read stuff, or even not friends, and they comment on like, this was upsetting. Well, yeah, it was supposed to be, and it was upsetting to you because it spoke to you. It resonated with you. These words on this page, they're just a bunch of lines, but they evoked a feeling out of you, and they made your mind go to a certain place. Just these little symbols on a piece of paper. That's why you're uncomfortable, because it resonated with you. And then if you become upset knowing that I am broken, this is directly to family, then please understand that writing about my mental health is how I begin to heal myself. I will always keep that stance. I write about mental health because it's how I cope, and it's how I move on and deal with things, and don't keep it lingering and torturing my brain. So when people do get upset that I'm bringing any attention to something, especially when something is in the past, everything's in the past technically, but especially when something's in the past, my rebuttal is, well, I fix the mental health. I help my own mental state by writing. That's how I heal. So if you don't like it, I can promise you're going to be a hell of a lot more upset when I don't write about it, and then it builds inside, and I go, and my actions are aggressive, they hurt other people, I act out. The way that I prevent that and the way that I heal is by writing it down. And then at the end, it does throw shade. It says, I will never stop emoting and hurting and healing. And if any of this is problematic for someone, then I pray you find the strength to learn how to be human one day. Because all of these emotions and writing about it and making sense of it is what I've been saying through Rather Be Haunted, which is learning how to be human. And I think if somebody's really uncomfortable with these sentiments that have been written in Rather Be Haunted, I think it's because you are resisting that part of you that is raw and emotional and vulnerable and ultimately human. It's very particular to being human. So that's what a poetic manifesto is. It's literally what it sounds like. It's my manifesto. It's my what I stand by when I write poetry, and it's an explanation. So those are all those 3 poems that I'm going to read, and I hope that wasn't too personal. Let's hope not. But these are all from Rather Be Haunted, and if you're interested in owning the copy of Rather Be Haunted, having these words in print in front of you with the artwork, you can buy this on Amazon, and I would suggest you look up Rather Be Haunted with my name, Valerie Parente, because I'm not that popular at all, so it doesn't usually, I don't think it comes up when you just look up the title. So look up both if you're interested. And if you are interested, thank you. If you watch this whole video, thank you. If you watch some of this video, thank you. Thank you for just having any interest at all. Bye.